In a future society ruled by a governing body known as the collective, individuals are referred to as members and their lives are tightly regulated. Most diseases have been eradicated and there is no violence or crime. However, this has come at the cost of eliminating emotions, and it is now forbidden to express any feelings or engage in interpersonal contact. Love and marriage are prohibited, with babies being born through artificial means. Women are called upon to fulfill their societal duties as needed. The environment is stark, devoid of color or decoration, with everyone dressed uniformly in white, lacking individuality. Meals are bland and hobbies are limited to repetitive tasks like solving dull puzzles. Each member has a chip implanted in their arm, allowing constant surveillance by computers. This chip must be scanned for access to transportation or work buildings. Silas, like everyone else, follows a monotonous routine, waking up to an automated bed, eating a flavorless breakfast, and going to work in silence. Communication is minimal even during train rides or at work, where screens remind members to report any hint of nonconformity, down to the slightest smile. There are 2 occasions during the day when workers are permitted to converse. The first is during project meetings where they discuss ideas and Silas pays close attention to Nia's suggestions. The other opportunity is during lunch where they maintain distance from one another. Conversation tends to be subdued, focusing on factual topics such as a coworker's return from conception duty. At the end of the workday, Silas observes officers arresting an ill couple. Back at his apartment, he continues his mundane routine. A meal prepared by the home eye, solving another routine puzzle and going to bed. This routine mirrors that of everyone else in the building. The following day, Silas watches the news and discovers that the sick couple will be sent to a facility known as the Defective Emotional Neuropathy Den. Members are once again reminded to report any signs of SOS, whether in themselves or their coworkers. Later at work, an employee self-deletes by falling off the roof, a common occurrence in this society. Employees gather at the window to view the body, but apart from Nia, who exhibits subtle signs of disturbance noticed by Silas, no one else seems affected. Silas keeps this observation to himself. Following this incident, all Atmos employees convene for another meeting. While everyone's attention is on the screen, Silas seizes the opportunity to observe Nia, attempting to discern if she might be affected by the syndrome. His prolonged observation of her begins to stir something within him. Back at home, Silas feels nervous during dinner, unable to shake thoughts of Nia from his mind. He struggles to focus on his puzzle. The next day, during another work meeting, Silas finds himself zoning out and receives a scolding as a result. That night, he dreams for the first time, imagining himself standing on a roof before waking abruptly. Confused and disoriented, he collides with the wall. The following morning, Silas notices a bruise on his forehead and seeks help at the health center, where he witnesses a woman crying. While watching a video about SOS and its symptoms, a man named Jonas inquires about Silas's stage of the illness, to which Silas denies being sick. Subsequently, Silas confides in the doctor about his nightmare, leading to immediate testing and confirmation of SOS. Initially frightened at the prospect of being sent to a den facility, Silas grapples with his diagnosis. The doctor assures Silas that efforts are underway to develop a cure for SOS, offering reassurance that he'll be all right as long as his symptoms remain manageable. Checking his profile on the home computer, Silas discovers that he's already classified as having stage 1 SOS. During work, when questioned about a bruise, Silas fabricates a story about sustaining it in a Tai Chi class to conceal his illness. Despite his coworkers' skepticism, Nia unexpectedly corroborates his story, surprising Silas. At lunch, a bumblebee lands on their table, prompting Nia to capture and release it while discussing the peculiar nature of bees, capturing Silas' attention. After work, Silas collects shades and medication from the health center, where he learns about SOS through a video intended for members. He discovers that it's a genetic malfunction causing emotions to surface, and only inhibitor medicine can delay worsening symptoms. The following day at work, Silas experiences distracting emotions, struggles with focus, and exhibits unconventional drawing styles. During a bathroom encounter with Mia, Silas' behavior becomes awkward, leading him to secretly follow her home. This experience prompts him to stop taking his medication. Intentionally switching roles with a coworker, Silas seeks Nia's assistance with his work, garnering attention from a superior concern about their interaction. Despite Nia providing valuable feedback, Silas becomes fixated on observing her expressions. One evening, Silas listens to Nia's recordings on her office computer, consumed by his obsession. During a work meeting, Silas's inadvertent spillage of a drink reveals his shades, prompting him to admit his SOS diagnosis. Despite asserting that he's not contagious, he's separated from the group, causing him pain when Nia agrees with the decision. Subsequently isolated at work, Silas continues to shadow Nia, only to be confronted by her. Threatened with exposure, Silas attempts to reveal Nia's SOS status, but she denies it. Silas points out to Nia that if she weren't affected by SOS, she would have already reported him. At a loss for words, Nia leaves. The following day, Silas and Nia attempt to maintain normalcy, but Nia's fidgeting hands confirm Silas's suspicions. Alone in the office, the tension escalates until Nia retreats to the bathroom, with Silas following. Awkwardly standing together in a stall, they grapple with their emotions. Silas takes the leap, touching Nia's hands and face, reveling in the sensation. Nia admits she's been sick for a year, expressing fear and the necessity of maintaining distance. Silas reluctantly agrees but shares a kiss before departing. The next day, Nia struggles to push thoughts of Silas away despite her request for distance. Silas reciprocates her gaze and seeks her out until they find themselves alone again in the bathroom stall, their closeness intensifying. Their moment is interrupted by an intruder, prompting Silas to leave and encounter his manager, who hints at the consequences of Silas' actions. The following day, Nia waits for Silas in vain, eventually meeting him outside to discuss the manager's warning. Silas decides to request a job transfer, leaving Nia distraught. Returning home, Nia experiences a breakdown. The next morning, Silas resigns, seeking a job where his illness won't disrupt his colleagues. He begins working at a nature sanctuary, leaving Nia to cope with his absence. Struggling with his replacement, Nia's work performance declines and she finds solace in Silas's cup, which she retrieves. Returning home, Silas finds Nia waiting, visibly anxious. Seeking comfort, Silas embraces her, leading to a passionate encounter. Overwhelmed by their connection, they pledge not to part ways again. They discreetly continue their relationship, meeting secretly for dates and deepening their bond. With Nia's mood lifted, their nighttime rendezvous becomes a source of joy, while their secret interactions during the day, like brief hand brushes, sustain them. However, their newfound happiness is threatened when news of a cure for SOS emerges. Silas and Nia resolve to remain unaffected by the cure, share their decision with the support group. Despite warnings from others, including the cautionary tale from Bess, the couple remains steadfast in their plan to flee to the peninsula. With Jonas' support, they arrange their escape. However, their plans unravel when Nia is abruptly detained at work and informed of her summons for conception duty, an insurmountable obstacle to their escape. Desperate for a solution, Silas proposes that Nia undergo testing for SOS, which would render her ineligible for conception duty if diagnosed. The following day at the health center, Nia's test results shock them both. She's pregnant, a grave offense in their society where natural pregnancies are forbidden. Silas anxiously waits for Nia at their meeting spot, growing increasingly worried when she fails to appear. Rushing to the health center, his worst fears are confirmed as he learns of Nia's transfer to the den facility. Silas turns to Jonas for help, who, along with Bess, is already working on a plan. Unable to intervene immediately, Silas must wait for their next move. In the morning, Bess uses her authority to liberate Nia from her confines, orchestrating a risky swap of identities to facilitate Nia's escape. Disguised and equipped with a new identity, Nia flees the facility, evading capture thanks to Bess's intervention. Meanwhile, Silas learns of Jonas Group's arrests and rushes to the den facility seeking information about Nia. Devastated by the news of her death, Silas grapples with despair and considers self-deletion but ultimately backs down. At Silas' apartment, Nia waits for his return, but he doesn't show up. Growing impatient, she searches for him at the sanctuary, only to come up empty-handed. Returning to Silas' place, she is relieved when he finally returns, but his distant demeanor raises suspicions. Upon closer inspection, she discovers that Silas has taken the SOS cure, leaving him with only 5 hours of emotions remaining. Determined to help him reclaim his emotions, Nia encourages Silas to resist the effects of the medicine as they plan their escape. In the morning, Nia awakens to find herself alone in bed. Silas, having risen early and adhering to his routine, is already dressed and prepared to depart. He confesses to remembering the love they once shared but admits that he no longer feels it. Despite this revelation, Nia refuses to give up and they set out together. As they make their way to the station, Nia senses a profound distance between them, prompting concerns about the viability of their relationship. However, a glimmer of hope emerges as Silas tentatively reaches out to touch her hand, suggesting the possibility of reconciliation. With this poignant moment, the movie concludes, leaving viewers to contemplate the uncertain future of Silas and Nia's relationship. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.